World proudly brings you the International Netball Series. We love netball as much as you do.
Victorious at the inaugural World Series, but things got a whole lot tougher in the one-off test against England. The Silver Ferns just pulling through. Now they're in Jamaica. Can they close out the season in style? Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for the Silver Ferns final leg of what's been a very long and intense season for the team. Today we head to Jamaica for test one of 2 tests in Kingston. Now the last time the Sunshine Girls played the Silver Ferns was back in 2007, and Jamaica has only beaten the Ferns once. That was in 2002. Now your commentators for today's match are Julie Coney and Jenny May Coffin. And Jenny May, I believe, sadly, you were
had to bring it up, didn't you?
I'm sorry, Jenny May was part of that team in 2002 that lost, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I was part of the squad. I didn't actually take to the court myself or Cheryl Scanlon. There were 14 players that were taken over there. But I do remember it. It was a very fierce, parochial crowd that got stuck into the umpires and stuck into us as players as well. So, you know, Jamaica, tough to play at home. And that was certainly what happened in 2002. And I expect it to be no different today as well.
I was going to say, Julie, do you feel with the 2 teams that are out there today that that could potentially happen? I mean, they've only beaten the Ferns once. Could it happen today?
Look, I think Jamaica are dangerous coming off a win against Australia. They won that second test against Australia, lost the first one by 2, won the second by 1. They will be confident with that, beating the world champions and coming up against New Zealand. Although I must say, they tend to play better against the Australian style of play than they do against New Zealand. There's just something that agitates them against Australia.
Well, we hope it's the fear factor that the Silver Ferns have. I mean, you know, perhaps that's part of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. But look, and I think that the other things going in their favour is the crowd, and Jenny May's touched on that the crowd will really, really lift them. And they are performers. They love being on show. And so if they get on a high and they start well, then they could be very, very dangerous. They've got a great shooter in Aiken. Byfield's been out here for the ANZ Championship on defence. So they are a tough and talented side.
What about the tiredness factor? Because I know from being in England with the Silver Ferns, they weren't, I wouldn't say they were highly motivated going to Jamaica. They look tired. I know they're tired. They've said that. Will that be a factor?
I'd say no. Yeah, they are tired. It's been a long season against Australia. They've gone over to the Mini World Championships. But it's a test match, and the Ferns, they're internationals. They know what they're doing. They will pick themselves up for this game.
Yeah, I just think they've got to manage the injuries, though. They don't want injury at this time of the season.
Absolutely, we can't afford those. Right, let's get into the team lineups now. Will Ruth Aiken experiment? She's only got 2 matches left this season, or will she stick with the tried and true? Here are the lineups. It's all about consolidation for Ruth Aiken today, sticking with her tested starting 7. Irene van Dijk spearheads the attack end at goal shoot, with Maria Tutaia rewarded for her player of the match performance against England. Temipana George will start at wing attack, Laura Langman at centre and Jolene Henry at wing defence. Captain Casey Williams is becoming a real regular out of the circle at goal defence, with Katrina Grant at goal keep. There were no subs made in the one-off test against England, but do watch out for Paula Griffin as another shooting option as Ruth Aiken builds for next year's Commonwealth Games. A lot of strength at both ends of the court for the Jamaicans. The star and the one New Zealand will have to watch is goal shoot Romelda Aiken, teaming up with the experienced captain Simone Forbes. Sasha Gay Henry is at wing attack with Nadine Bryan at centre, and Nicola Gibson will start at wing defence. Nicole Aiken is at goal defence with Central Pulse defender Althea Byfield at goalkeeper, a player the Ferns have seen a lot of. And it's a particularly athletic-looking Jamaican bench with a very cunning coach and former international Connie Francis. Well, we're getting used to seeing the same starting 7 from Ruth Aitken now. She really has nailed in on that top lineup. Jenny May, any surprises then that she's starting with them again here?
No, not at all. She's talked about it all week, the fact that she was going to use her best lineup. That is her best starting 7 that she's put out on court. I guess it's one of those debates, though, as to whether, you know, for a coach, whether you start to look at experimenting and put some of your players on, or whether you stay with that tried and true looking towards the Commonwealth Games. You know, I guess the issue for me is, do we know what Anna Thompson's capable of at international level? Do we know what Larissa Wilcox is capable of at international level? But I guess the other thing too is you don't want to be just handing out tests to players just because they're in the team. But the flip side of that is also, you know, come to the Commonwealth Games and they need to take the court. You know,
yeah, I don't think we'll see all that experimenting in this first test, because I think it's really important that they take a win from this first one. We may see it, Jenny May and Tony, in the second. There might be a wee bit more experimenting, because clearly that's what she did want to do. That was one of the focuses of this tour as well, is that she did try some new combinations.
Are you confident that this is the best starting 7? There has been, particularly in the goal attack position. We know Paula Griffin has started to step up. Are you confident Maria Tutaia deserves that spot?
I think she does. I think she had a really good test against England. That last test they had, I thought she really stood up and put up the shots under pressure. Irene was getting a lot of attention in that final quarter, and there wasn't the same movement in there, and I thought she did a good job. Look, I think that Griffin has been playing well too, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a change if things aren't going well. At least they have got that strength there, and they know that they don't lose much by putting Griffin on either.
Who are the big threats for you, Jenny May? Is it all about Romelda Aiken, or are there other players that we need to sort of pinpoint and control?
Simone Forbes. I think she's actually a bigger threat than what Romelda Aiken is, because she's the one that supplies the ball to Romelda, and if the ball's not getting to her, she's out of the game. So
she's that thinking goal attack as well that we've been wanting.
She's the general. She's the general.
She'll put the shots up as well, though. She will, and we haven't seen the goalkeeper Althea Byfield either in that small series, so it'll be interesting to see what she comes up with today. How many headaches, or if she gives Irene a headache.
Well, it sounds like she had a really good game against Australia, Byfield, back in that mix there in the defence.
It will be very interesting to see. Well, no matter what happens today, we will know that it will be a very flamboyant style of netball. Stay with us. We're into the live action after this. To Kingston for One Sport's exclusively live coverage of the Silver Ferns season. The Jamaicans really took to the new form of the game in England, fast net, but can they transfer that momentum over to the traditional form of the game? I'll pass you over to your commentators now, Julie Coney and Jenny May Coffin.
Thanks for that, Tony. Yes, good afternoon. Great to have your company this afternoon at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston, Jamaica, a stadium that holds great memories for the Silver Ferns, the scene of their 2003 World Cup win over Australia, but this is also the court the Ferns have suffered their one and only loss to Jamaica. That was back in 2002. Now, ordinarily, Julie, there's a fiercely parochial Jamaican crowd whenever the Silver Ferns play, but so far the stadium is relatively empty, which is interesting.
Well, it is a midweek game, and I wonder whether that has something to do with it. But Jamaica, it's a bit like that. They all turn up at the last minute. You know, they'll wait until the players are on court before they even arrive. But I just wonder whether that whole midweek thing may affect the crowd.
Timi Pata-George, star of the 2003 World Championships, she will be enjoying being back on this court.
Well, will she enjoy it? This was the court that she was actually put off. She was sidelined in 2003, wasn't she, at the World Championships?
But if my memory serves me correct, she came back on and they got an intercept.
That's dead right, and they won gold here in this very stadium.
And we see the Jamaicans who, in the shortened version of this game, wore the little tight shorts, which was quite interesting. Thought they might rock that out this afternoon, but they've gone to a yellow strip instead.
Yes, well, they had two little outfits for that fast net game, and I think getting into the spirit of it actually. And I thought it was great to see. Yes, so in a tunic outfit today.
So the Silver Ferns line up there. Irene van Dijken at goal shoot, partnered with Maria Tutaia. George in at wing attack, becoming a familiar face in at wing attack. And Laura Langman getting the nod at centre. Jolene Henry in at wing defence. Casey Williams at goal defence. And Katrina Grant, who's had a great series, or end of year tour that is, playing in at goal keep and is signed for the Central Pulse next season.
Daunting task for her up against Romelda Aiken. But for me, the key is more outside the circle, and Jolene Henry will be part of that to try and stem that flow of big ball into Aiken. And as we said just earlier in the show, Forbes as well is a very much a danger person at that end of the court.
Well, I'd expect Casey Williams, and there she is there, Simone Forbes. I'd expect Casey Williams to get straight up over her 3-foot guard as soon as she gets the ball, so she can't see that tall tower in the back there of Romelda Aiken.
Very important that the Silver Ferns start well in this match.
Well, Silver Ferns between New Zealand and Jamaica, they've played 42 times. New Zealand has won 39 of those. Obviously that one lost back in 2002. There also has been one draw between these two sides. But Jamaica haven't been able to get close to the Silver Ferns in the long form of the game in the last couple of years. 59-49 was the last score. That was back in November in 2007. And then they were wiped off the court 46-68.
There will be a donation of $100.
I just think this Jamaican side, though, are a lot more disciplined in their play than we've seen in the past. And I think Connie Francis has perhaps brought that to the team as a coach and a former player, former goal attack. So I think if they can maintain their discipline, they are very dangerous because they are just so explosive as players.
Well, our umpires for this afternoon's match, Marion Johnson-Hurley from Barbados and also Jackie Jashari of Australia. So you talk about that discipline. Jackie Jashari, she will no doubt be blowing the Jamaicans, making sure that they are staying disciplined. All right, as Laura Langman's waiting for the signal. And there it goes. Test one between the Silver Ferns and Jamaica at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston, Jamaica. Straight away.
Yes.
Nadine Bryant. Not giving Timipata George an inch.
Contact, goalkeeper.
Althea Byfield playing in at goalkeep. She didn't travel to England with the Jamaican side. She did, however, play against Australia. Brian having to go back.
Now we saw Sasha Gay Lynch in the defensive position in place of Byfield. She's sitting on the bench for the start of this match.
So straight away we see that big ball go into Romelda Aiken. Misses on her first shot, but manages to regather it. So that'll be a feature of Jamaica's game this afternoon. Henry. Yes, lovely work there from Byfield. No, in fact, it was Aiken.
Advantage contact wing, advantage obstruction.
Big pass. Simone Forbes. So keep your eye on her at home. Simone Forbes, goal attack for Jamaica.
Advantage obstruction, goal defense.
And a big shot from Forbes as well. Not only can she turn and feed the ball in, doesn't mind taking on the responsibility of putting the shot up either.
And that, of course, was off the New Zealand centre pass. So a chance here for Jamaica to take a nice early lead.
Well, 3-1. Might be a small crowd, but it's a noisy one. So, nice pass. Find Tutaia on the baseline.
Yes, well, the defence called out, so 2-on-1 in the circle. They covered Van Dijk, left plenty of room for Tutaia.
Obstruction, goal defense, penalty.
Williams looking to put a 3-foot guard up as she's going back, looking for the ball to go up and over, but called for the obstruction on that occasion. Gibson finds Forbes, finds Aiken easily. George. Nice straight line play to Tutaia.
Yeah, nice work, good position for George. Worked the ball nicely, back to the line, let the attack reset, opened up the top of the circle for the drive for George, and it was an easy pass in.
Is that 3-foot guard from the Silver Ferns?
Yes, they're up and over it early. And they need to be for that long ball into Aiken.
Brian.
Metre 96. Aiken there, in shot now. You can see the slight height advantage she has. Plus the reach on top of that.
George, contact though. Called at the top of the circle, Aitken out of play. Easy play for the Silver Ferns.
Yeah, so again, that's the danger area for them, isn't it? The Jamaicans, when they're getting pulled for that contact outside the circle, it's leaving 2 on 2 New Zealand shooters with just the 1 defender inside, and it's easy for them.
We're having to go back. Aitken.
Again, that's something that the Silver Ferns will be trying to do off the centre pass off, is force the ball back in the first instance, because if it goes forward, they can turn and look straight into Aiken, and it's a one-on-one situation. So I think they'll try and look to cover the front options and force them to play it back off the centre.
Forbes with the shot. Yes, great intercept from Byfield.
A bit soft though, cross-court pass, wasn't it?
Oh, they try it down the other end, Jamaica.
And the thing is, the Jamaicans have got such great elevation. They're tremendously gifted athletes. They're very quick off the mark, very athletic, very full of flair. So any high lobby ball, they'll have a go at.
Well, Katrina Grant did well on that occasion, forcing the ball out the baseline. Williams finds Tutaia. Now, offside, Brian. Good attempt at trying to swat the ball, but it was offside at the same time. Tutaia with the long shot, both defenders staying back on Van Dijk, forcing Tutaia into the shot. Not a
Happy
problem,
to take it though. And that's her strength, isn't it? And that just takes the pressure off Van Dijk.
Gibson.
And that's certainly where Tutaia has been solid on that long shot.
Forbes.
Looking in, wasn't she? She was wanting that pass to go. That was her first option and the right option to look for in the first instance, but great New Zealand defence.
Grant. Nice take from George. Good backup too from Henry on the transverse.
Yes, well, it was the right option again to take, wasn't it? It gave George time to reposition because she came back in support, and then it gave her time to reposition and get down court.
Well, the Silver Ferns.
New Zealand!
All even now.
Advantage obstruction.
Jamaica forcing the Ferns to pass back.
Goal defence, that's contact.
Silver Ferns just very controlled on their pace of the ball at the moment. It's that they're not playing at speed; they're just keeping it quite controlled. And to me, that's the way you've got to play against the Jamaicans. Play at speed, and they love it because they run at everything. But New Zealand just a wee bit more deliberate, harder for them to get ball off.
Nice pass from Henry, finds Aiken. Grant called for the obstruction. Easy shot for the youngster. The thing about this Jamaican crowd as well is even if you're playing well, the opposition's playing well, they won't tell you. They don't appreciate it, only if their team is scoring or playing well.
Oh, lovely pass, lovely positioning.
Obstruction.
For the take as well from Van Dijk, right between the 2 defenders.
Forbes finds Brian.
Obstruction centre. Yes. Advantage movement centre.
Grant, she's looking for that intercept on the outside. That's what happens, though. You expose the baseline, you expose Aiken.
And that's when it's dangerous, isn't it? When Jamaica have the ball right on the edge of the circle.
Nice drive from Tutaia. Passes to George.
Jamaica.
Sprints down to take it on the baseline.
Advantage break wing. Wing defence contact. There.
And call against Jamaica.
Yes, they'll be disappointed with that because they got it to their front line on the pass off.
Nicola Gibson called for the contact. Easy pass from Tutaia. Byfield getting stuck on the back of Irene van Dijk. Not moving her feet enough. Nice pass and cut.
Advantage contact.
Patience from the Silver Ferns, and the space opens up.
Yes, just felt in the first phase when the ball came down there with that movement of Van Dijk out of the circle, all four attackers at that end were all in the one space. It just didn't clear. So when that happens, really your goal attack needs to react and not go to the same position and clear out.
Grant called for the contact. Henry dishes it off to Aiken. Yeah, again, it's that baseline.
Instruction.
Byfield, if she's not on the side, she's getting caught on the front.
Jamaica.
Needs to keep her feet moving, keep confusing the space, otherwise the ball's going to keep going in. Nice space being found for Van Dijk, but Nadine Bryan comes up with a mistake. Oh. Henry and Williams running into the same space. Yeah.
Goal defence. Set.
Aiken
Set.
all over Van Dijk again, being caught behind.
New Zealand.
And New Zealand doing very well in the shooting. Haven't missed a shot to date. And of course Jamaica doing pretty well as well. Just that first early miss from Aiken from right under the goal.
The Silver Ferns turn the ball over, breaking on their centre pass. Nadine Bryan with a big pass into Aiken. A big feature of the Silver Ferns game, which has started to develop since Temepara George has been in at wing attack, is the squaring of the pass. If nothing's on in the front, they look to go back or across, opening up the spaces. So you'll often see George either pass back to Henry or to Williams to look to pass and cut herself. Something we haven't seen for a little while in the Ferns game, but certainly since George has been back at wing attack.
Forbes accurate on that pass, isn't she? You know, just pops it over. She didn't like the arms up over her on the shot, pops it over to Aiken. Oh, that was a footwork, I thought, from Tutaia. Perhaps lucky to get away with it.
Oh, the umpire missed it, and both defenders were looking for the big pass into the corner, and Van Dijk was on her own underneath the post. Henry obstruction. Forbes. Long shot. Nice long shot.
She hasn't missed Forbes, 4 from 4. A bit of a wild pass that one, and it was drifting down towards the knees as well.
But it was better defensive pressure too from Byfield. She followed Van Dijk all the way out there. Williams throws herself at the ball.
And then they turn it over, Jamaica.
No, bit of confusion. Whose ball is it?
No.
It's Jamaica's.
So it was a contact call before the ball went out of court.
Australian umpire calling Casey Williams back. It's Forbes, looks to Bryan. Yes, clever. Bryan shuffles her feet back, knew that Williams had dropped back towards the post.
And gives herself a nice close shot. Accurate as well. So New Zealand slid in front there for a wee while, but Jamaica coming back.
Forbes with a big pass. Aiken way out of the circle.
Forbes does well to keep that in play.
Listen to the crowd.
And this is the sort of thing, you know, when they can feel them surging back and they get on a high, the Jamaicans, and they just lift another gear.
Yeah, better defensive pressure from inside the circle between Aiken and Byfield.
Byfield called for the contact.
Tutaia right out in front. Yep, no clapping, no cheering, nothing from the crowd.
Yeah, good shot.
Forbes looking for a big pass, goes into the corner to Bryant. Yeah, smart work.
Excellent skills. Defence really pulled to the ball, weren't they?
Nice set play from the Ferns. Van Dijk getting her feet tangled in Aikens.
And that's the thing when you play against the Jamaicans too. You don't want to get entangled with the bodies. You know that you've really got to try and keep yourself away from them in some ways, because they do tend to have sneaky little holds and pushes on them.
And again,
I think we saw that in the Fastnet game when we watched Jamaica play. They can be quite tricky, shall I say, or could I extend it to as far as saying devious?
I think most netballers are devious, aren't they? Jules?
Just about the height advantage of Van Dijk, though, over Byfield. Too good.
Well, the thing is, once Byfield starts to get her timing and her iron, she's dangerous.
Just got to come off Van Dijk a little bit and play a bit more in front and give herself room to get up in the air.
Williams swats at the ball. Obstruction, no. She's out of play. 17 apiece. Big pass from Tutaia, goes out the baseline. Byfield gets a hand to it, so the Ferns will be aware they've only got seconds left in this quarter. Oh, I think someone in the crowd may have distracted the Ferns on that one, but it doesn't matter anyway. It's 17 all after the end of the first quarter. It's all even between Jamaica and the Silver Ferns.
See you back for more action after the break.
It's Test 1 between the Silver Ferns and Jamaica at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston, Jamaica. And it is all locked up, 17 apiece between these two sides. And there has been a change. Larissa Wilcox has come onto the court at wing defence for the Silver Ferns. Casey Williams still out at goal defence, so Jolene Henry's been put onto the bench.
Well, you're wanting to see a little bit of experimenting, Jenny May, and to see how these players will go in the international arena. So we're getting a chance to see Wilcox. And I think if we do see these players included in the mix, it will be with strength around them.
Well, the Silver Ferns off to a good start. They turned the ball over off Jamaica's centre pass, so it's the Silver Ferns centre pass now.
Very high-scoring first quarter, wasn't it? Not a lot of defensive work in there at all. It was to the shooters, and good, solid shooting stats. So, hence the high score in the first quarter. I'd like to see a bit more work from the defence. But, as I say, I think the game has been played at a very controlled pace by both teams. So, not a lot of free ball, if you like.
Casey Williams comes charging into the circle. And great work there.
Yep, very good work for those two defence to get that ball from Aiken on the rebound. She's got a great height advantage over them. Tutaia solid on the shot.
Good start from the Silver Ferns in the opening minutes of the second quarter.
Again, just over the head of the defenders. Head down, ball goes, ball delivered.
Fantastic start by the Ferns.
Wing defence, centre third. Centre third, wing defence, centre third.
So Wilcox called for the contact.
Over there. Advantage obstruction.
Yeah, Brian, nice pass, easy pass into Aiken. But you expect that to happen every now and again, for that easy pass to go in the back to Aiken.
Advantage right wing.
Yes, as we say, I think if the ball is close to the edge of the circle, there's not much chance on getting the tip if she holds well.
Second fumble from Van Dyke. This time, though, the Silver Ferns unable to regather it. So Jamaica with a chance to close this score. Nice defensive pressure from Langman on Brian.
Yes, I just think we've seen the defence just tighten up a little bit and having a go at some ball and flight.
There's that big pass again from Forbes. She'll do it all day if she can.
Yeah, and a good hold from Aiken on the receiving end.
Well, I don't know how Forbes got in there for that rebound.
The smallest of them all came up with the goods.
Brian. The player who hasn't really featured so far is Henry, and at wing attack. Yeah, good setup from Jamaica. Wilcox called for the contact.
Your second one in opening, with her coming on, she just got to be a wee bit careful with that elbow, I think. That's what she's getting called for, just digging into the attacking player.
You see Jamaica employing a 3-foot guard. A bit more defensive pressure. Yeah, contact. Aiken just falling back on Van Dyke.
And it's Tutaia, though, that takes the penalty, and we've seen that's become very much a pattern, putting the height of Van Dyke in under the goal. Makes sense.
Yes, nice timing from Katrina Grant.
This defensive combination's really developed, hasn't it, over the... you've got to think this is the first season that they've played together in this way, with Williams out at goal defence and Katrina Grant in the back, and I think it's developing really nicely.
Well, there's certainly been a lot of talk about it in the Silver Ferns camp when Katrina Grant was first picked, and it was developing right back then, so it's coming to fruition now. Good work from Ferns coach, assistant coach Waimarama Taumonu.
And I just think Williams can get some really valuable ball out in the goal defence position, and when you're playing teams like Jamaica where you've got a big tall shooter, you've got to try and attack it before the circle.
Well, she also adds that attacking prowess too. Great work from Byfield, and she has come up with it. Van Dyke contact.
The crowd certainly let us know that.
So Williams, yep, very, very good on attack. She's a target. Yeah, lovely work from Jamaica. And Forbes stops herself from falling out of court, composes herself to put the shot up. She misses it, doesn't matter though. Romelda Aiken tidies things up for her.
And that's her first miss. Forbes, 9 from 10.
Advantage contact wing, advantage contact wing. Holding. Goal attack.
This is the interesting thing now that the Silver Ferns defensive end is down at the Australian umpires' end. Getting pulled perhaps a little bit more than they were by the Barbados umpire. Great speed from the Silver Ferns out of that defensive end.
Yes, they got away with that one off the rebound. The height of Aiken didn't work.
Now Gibson. Tip, contact called. Yeah. It's lovely defensive work from Jamaica.
But the delivery was just too good into Van Dijk, and she held well. And New Zealand have yet to miss a shot at goal, so doing very, very well in the shooting stats. Jamaica not so happy. They're slipping off a little. Just the 5 misses, though.
Oh, big fall. Nadine Bryant.
You can normally expect high stats from both these teams because they both have shooters that like to get the ball in under the goal.
A little trouble here for the Jamaican side.
Have a look at it on the replay. Well, she was climbing all over George, I felt.
Well, all George was worried about was offside. Is it offside? Wants to get on with things.
And New Zealand attracting a few more penalties to that of Jamaica. It's that obstruction, and that's up and over the ball outside the circle. So you, in some ways, you say, you know, it's not a good stat because it's too many, but in other ways, it is getting up and over that ball and slowing the play down.
Well, Althea Byfield leads the stats on intercepts with 2. As we take another look at.
And you can see there the Jamaica attack very strong on their rebounds.
So Nadine Bryant, she's an experienced campaigner for the Jamaican side. Be a pity for them to lose her. Silver Ferns regathering their thoughts, ready to get on with things.
So even though Jamaica have missed 5 shots, they've got 3 rebounds off them. So that's why the game is so close.
Connie Francis, the Jamaican coach, standing by, waiting to see if her player is going to be okay. And this can sometimes happen with the Jamaicans. One little thing goes wrong, and they tend to slide off and think, oh, no, it's all a bit too much now.
The mouth drops.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're still in the match, so Nadine Bryant picks herself up and carries on. Probably be a little bit laboured for a little while as Tutaia slots another shot for the Ferns.
New Zealand can't just accelerate away from them, though, can they? They take a little hop forward, and then back come the Jamaicans. So Jamaica doing well to hang in.
Henry with the ball.
Now marched against Wilcox, so as we mentioned before, just those contacts creeping into the game that she's being penalised for.
Well, again, it's down the Australian umpire's end. Perhaps, you know, if she stays on for the next quarter, it might change down the other end.
The Australian umpire might be very annoyed that she's an Australian player and she's come back to play for New Zealand. So she's penalising her.
Nice take from George. Byfield really having a go at Van Dijk.
Yes.
And getting away with it, might I say.
Yeah, nice work from Tutaia. Slices the top of that circle.
Yeah, she's perfected that her timing, hasn't she, on that entry into the circle, and rolls the top of the circle nicely. And Van Dijk does her job by keeping the 2 defence busy.
Henry. Forbes. Oh, when both defenders are back on Aitken, Forbes is quite happy to take the shot.
But she doesn't want to take it from distance, does she,
No.
Aitken? She likes to be right in under that goal.
We saw the 2 Silver Fern defenders looking to the umpire with their hands flicking their fingers in the air. Well, they were asking for the replayed ball.
But she had 2 taps, but then our defence had a tap. So if there hadn't have been that tap in between by the New Zealand player, yes, it would have been replayed.
Great speed from the Silver Ferns off the centre pass. Again, that ball went back to Williams, fired down to George, right along that sideline. Forbes, Grant goes out looking for the intercept.
Yes, the timing's good in there from the defence. They're just waiting for the attack to drive in and then coming off and picking her up.
As you say, the Silver Ferns just can't pull away from this Jamaican side. Lovely shot from Tutaia.
She's just so confident on that long shot, but unfortunately Van Dijk has spoiled it for her. She got pulled for a contact for her. That goal will not count.
Yeah, lovely work from Langman coming up with the intercept. There's that square pass I've been talking about from George through to Williams.
It just opens up the other side of the court, doesn't it?
Well, it's different angles. You know, the defenders stay on one side when they see the ball coming down, but when it's flicked across the other side quickly, it opens up a little bit more.
And the attack then keep the defence on their back, and they've got what we call a straight line play.
George, lovely pass to Van Dijk.
Go attack, you're causing contact. Go first.
And it is Forbes that is called for causing the contact. So an opportunity here for the Silver Ferns. Nice tip from Gibson.
Yes, that's the sneaky play that sometimes they get away with in games. Not getting away with it against Jackie Tashari.
Wow, Brian, was she offside? Well, the umpire didn't think so, so it doesn't matter.
Marion Johnson-Hurley on the far side of the court. The umpire is from Barbados, so hasn't encountered a lot of top-level netball.
Good work from Larissa Wilcox. She was up in there having a go. Almost turned the ball over.
Step in. Yes, yes.
Easy pass to Aitken.
Yes, no, not even an attempt from the defence to have a go at it. It was, it's just too accurate and too hard when it's just a very short distance between the passer and receiver.
Van Dijk way out of the circle.
Nice dodge. Great footwork from Tutaia. Moved nicely, but that would be her first miss at goal, Tutaia.
Well, she'd be disappointed with that because everything she did prior to that was perfect.
Yep, New Zealand's first miss at goal.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely work from Langman.
Oh, it was a gift. Henry was looking to do what George has been doing the whole game and square the ball. And that's Byfield at her best. Great timing from the defender.
And that's all they need, you know, a really good intercept like that and finish it off, but haven't been able to finish it off at this end. That really lifts this Jamaican side.
Oh, that's right. It was good defence from the Silver Ferns. Grant. And this combination we're talking about developing between Grant and Williams, they know when one goes, the other one has to back them up straight away. So it's a great understanding that these two have, and a nice pass finds Aitken.
And lovely little help there from Williams, just holding Katrina Grant as she was leading the shot.
Easy off the centre pass for the Ferns.
Van Dijk doesn't even turn to look at goal. Too far out.
Yeah. Aitken getting flat, couldn't see where Van Dijk was. She just popped out to the side, and it was a nice easy pass from Tutaia. Bryant finds Henry. Has to go back to Gibson. Forbes looking for the big pass. And great defence from Katrina Grant. Pinned Aitken on the baseline.
Yes, that's about all you can do. If you can force her right on the baseline, you might get an opportunity at getting that ball that drops over. If she's got space to step back into, you're gone. But if you can really jam her on the baseline, you've got an opportunity.
Lovely pass from Brian.
Whoa, dribbles in for Aitken. 17 from 21 for her.
George. Van Dijk again out in that pocket.
Getting away with swinging the ball right across the circle like that, aren't they? The inside defenders aren't looking for it, and I think they could have a go at it, the Jamaicans. They're explosive enough and quick enough off the mark to have a go at that cross-court ball.
Well, it was lovely work from Gibson, but she went offside.
But they are also very wound up with their shooters and worried about leaving them.
Which is credit to Van Dijk and Tutaia, keeping the two defensive players interested.
So that won't count as a miss because it was a penalty, or she was penalised in the action.
Let's see if Jamaica can get the ball through the hoop with just seconds to go. And Aiken. Good on you, Katrina Grant, for having a go. Well, the same thing down the other end to Taia.
And Van Dijk finishes the quarter on 100%.
Let's have another go.
That would have to be a 4-pointer from the mid-court, wouldn't it?
Unfortunately, we're not playing fast net. It is the real game, and the Silver Ferns only lead Jamaica by 2 goals. It is 31-29 at half-time at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston, Jamaica.
Yeah,
31-29 the score is here at half-time. It could have been a lot closer had the Jamaicans been allowed that goal there right from halfway. Incredible. You won't see that very often in netball, and pity it doesn't count for them. Now let's take a look at the stats from that first half. And there they are there. Look at that. The Silver Ferns have missed just 1 shot at goal, 97%. A little bit higher there than the Jamaicans at this stage. And the other one of note there is the penalties. 38 to New Zealand, 27 to the Jamaicans.
So let's have a look at our player under the spotlight, and it is Maria Tutaia, the 22-year-old, sitting at 93%. Tony alluded to the fact there'd been 1 miss from the Silver Ferns, and that was from Silver Fern shooter Maria Tutaia. But all those shots have certainly been from out wide. Her game has developed on this interview tour, but she has Paula Griffin breathing down her neck. And she's looking pretty good at the moment, I have to say, Maria Tutaia.
Yeah, she surely is. The fact that gets me is we're only 2 goals between these two sides, yet when you look at history, Jamaicans have only beaten the Silver Ferns once. So what does that tell us, Julie, at half-time?
Well, this Jamaican side are good, and what I think, when they're missing their shots, they're getting their rebounds because they've got Aiken in there underneath. But they are being more disciplined in their play, and we touched on that earlier. And I think they're being controlled and disciplined, and they're not allowing New Zealand. You know, New Zealand have gone a couple of goals ahead, but they've stayed with that discipline and control and stayed with the Silver Ferns. Whereas in the past, I think if a team gets ahead of them, they tend to get on a bit of a downer and the old mouths drop. And
but they're staying there, so their spirits are still up.
And so I think that's a credit to them.
Interesting change there. Jolene Henry whipped off for Wilcox. Jenny May, what do you think would have been behind that, and has it worked? Has it worked?
I don't really know why the change was made. I like it, though. No, I like it. Hey, look, put her out there. Again, we haven't seen a heck of a lot of Larissa Wilcox playing in the series, apart from what we saw here in New Zealand against Australia. So I think it's great that she's out there. We know what Jolene Henry's capable of.
Absolutely.
We've been saying, and you said it at the beginning, Jenny May, that you know, they wanted to try some of these combinations, and we haven't seen what Wilcox is like under pressure, and we haven't seen, you know, what Thompson's like as well.
She's got experience around her. She's got Laura Langman in the middle. She's got Casey Williams on the wing. So, you know, she's doing good at the moment. Got pinged a little bit by the Australian umpire, but you know, you don't learn those sorts of things until you're out there.
Two goals the difference here in Kingston. The Silver Ferns lead Jamaica 31-29 in this first test. Just to update you, Jolene Henry was brought off after the first quarter and replaced by Larissa Wilcox, who hasn't had a lot of court time. And just looking there, you'll see her in the bottom of your screen. It looks like she's still got her bib on, Jenny May and Julie, so she'll be getting another chance in the second half.
Well, I'd like to hope so. She's only had 15 minutes so far in this match, so it'll be good to see her consolidate at wing defence. But no movement for anyone else. Liana Barrett-Chase, Anna Thompson or Paula Griffin. Not surprising, though, given that the Ferns are only leading by 2 goals, 29-31 the score at the moment.
Yes, I think just protecting the newbies by keeping a good solid line up around them.
And we're underway for the last 30 minutes of this first test between the Ferns and Jamaica. Bullet pass from Temepara George. Van Dijk on the baseline.
And your first miss.
Well, we've seen Althea Byfield go off the court for Jamaica. Not sure why that is, but she did have her shoulder heavily strapped. Forbes and Aitken still with that combination. And we see a change also. Nadine Bryant, who started at centre for Jamaica, move into the wing attack position. Had a heavy fall in that second quarter, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of the reason that she's been pushed back into that wing attack.
I just think she's also quite a good feeder, Brian, and the wing attack, that's your main job, to feed the circle.
Oh, again, Langman. It's number 3 for Langman. Wilcox.
Where you are.
2 defenders back on Van Dijk, forcing Tutaia to go back to the transverse line.
A nice split of the feeders outside. Langman taking 2 defence with her, left George free. Whoa, thought she was a good 5 feet there, but called for it.
Instruction, goal defence, pass or shot. Goal defence beside her.
Aitken will get it where she likes it, right in under the goal.
Both of you beside her, hand on
Via
the
a
ball.
penalty. So again, they just pull it back.
Gibson.
Don't know how she, I was going to say, I don't know how she managed to not go offside, but she did in fact go offside. And the ball just slipping out of the hands of Langman there. And she works hard to try and get it back, as you say, Jenny May. She's had 3 intercepts, Laura Langman. She's done well. It's not easy for a centre to get clean intercept ball.
Forbes sneaks her way in there. Nice shot, falling out of the court. See Williams with that big 3-foot guard over Forbes. Yeah, tricky.
Lovely. That's what you expect from these Jamaicans. A little bit of flair.
Looking to offload on the outside. The defenders swung off and she turned and gave the ball to Aitken. Lovely shot from Tutaia on the baseline. Brian. Yeah, Forbes with that big pass again. Good timing. Williams with their head down. Jamaica, good start to this third quarter. Trailing by 2 at the beginning. Even things up now. Yeah, good looking.
Just a little bit late. George will get the penalty. Now, sometimes we see in the third quarter of the match from the Silver Ferns a little lack of movement in their shooting circle. They start the match with nice space and good movement, and then for some reason around the third quarter they become a little stationary in the circle, and it'll be interesting to see if they go through that phase again today.
Well, it's changing things up too when the defensive end changes things. Tutaia and Williams called out of play for obstruction.
What you mean with Sasha Gay-Lynch coming on?
Yes.
Yes, with that change in defence.
Different defensive combination.
Against you. But also, I just wonder, you know, body's getting a little, get a little tired as well.
Langman. Bit more physical too.
Yes, absolutely. Sasha Gay-Lynch, we saw a bit of her in the fast net competition, and she is rugged.
She'll let you know she's on the court, and a timeout called here. Williams.
She'll certainly let her presence be felt.
Williams calling for her asthma pump.
Well, it's about 33 degrees in Jamaica, so they're really having to contend with the heat as well, and tired bodies. And
it's been an extremely tough end of year tour for the Silver Ferns. Remember, we've had those 5 test series against Australia. Then the Silver Ferns got on a plane, went over to the UK to participate in the fast net series, and then on the way home, calling into Jamaica.
And look at that, there's where Maria Tutaia has been taking her shots. She shot 19 from 20, you can see there, and just the one miss, so 95%. And look at the shots where they're being taken from. They're all from distance, and in comparison you then see Irene van Dijk again just with the one miss, but look at the close proximity, and that's certainly where both shooters at either end of the court like to take their shots, right from underneath.
Well, we see a change here in Silver Ferns defensive end. Jolene Henry's coming back onto the court. Williams will go back to goalkeep. That means Katrina Grant has been relegated to the bench. And I would hazard a guess it's not because Grant isn't playing so well, it's because Williams is struggling out at goal defence. So rather than have their captain leave the court and go to the bench, put her back to goalkeep, less running around.
Yes, well, and the other option would have been to put Grant out because she does play at goal defence, and Williams, and just do the swap. However, Forbes is very quick and Grant is not so, you know, she's tall and got good timing and so forth, but sometimes can be beaten by speed.
Well, Henry and Williams have played together for some time now, so they're familiar with each other's play.
And Henry will challenge Forbes, who is that general.
Number 4 for Langman, almost gives it up. She's having a terrific game, Laura Langman. What I'm enjoying about Langman's game at the moment is with George back at wing attack, she doesn't have to focus so much on the attacking side of things. George is the general down there. She's making the calls. Langman basically just has to come down, fit in, and get back down on defence. We know she's more of a defensive centre. Contact called, no, on the outside.
Because sometimes there is the lack of movement in the circle for New Zealand, but also I feel there's hesitation on the feed in at times as well. I think sometimes that feed from Langman and George could go a bit sooner, especially when a shooter offers to them.
Nice shot from Tutaia. Forbes finds Brian. Aitken way out of the circle. Great defence here from the Ferns. Henry called for the contact. And whilst Henry obviously gives away height in that goal defence position, she will certainly go out and hunt the ball. Nice little pass, nice little pop.
So it'll be interesting to see here with whether Jamaica can hang on again with this little mini surge for New Zealand. Great touch from Williams. Felt she went nicely with the away arm, but she has involved the umpire.
Williams told to step back. Her body was leaning forward slightly. Umpire didn't like that. Penalty was reset. Yeah, better defensive pressure from Jamaica.
And with Van Dijk on the floorboards, nowhere for that pass to go. It was interesting, George was really directing play down there. She was trapped, she had delivered the ball off and then was trapped for the next movement. She was calling for other players to come and they didn't. Bronwyn Meek, New Zealand umpire in the crowd. She officiated in the game against Jamaica's game against Australia.
Lovely from Forbes, steps around the 3-foot guard, clears the arms so she can sight the exact space that she can feed that ball to Aiken.
Well, we said, can they hang in? They certainly can. Back to just the one goal with their pass off.
Perhaps you'd question whether they'd hang in there if they were playing in another country, perhaps in New Zealand, but in front of their home crowd, Jamaica certainly aren't ready to relinquish. Yeah, good setup from Jamaica. Forbes cutting around the top. Aiken just a little pop out to the side.
And Henry just being called there for digging the elbows back into the player, trying to keep her on her back, but using the elbows.
Silver Ferns defenders getting hammered in this third quarter. Yeah, forced pass, lucky.
You can see Van Dijk getting a lot closer attention, isn't she,
Wow.
from Sasha Gay-Lynch to that of Althea Byfield.
Byfield a cleaner, shall we say,
yes,
as a
that's
player.
Good way to put it.
Good defensive pressure from Tutaia. Turns the ball over for the Silver Ferns.
Excellent timing from Tutaia.
Nicole Aiken just gives her a shove in the back, just good measure. Doesn't disrupt her on the shot.
And that's why she got it so cleanly, because her timing was so good, and that's all the other player could do was say, you know, blow you. That was too good.
Is that cross court square?
Again, look at that positioning. They're having to really work hard and keep their bodies strong and upright, the shooters, not allow them to be lent all over or allow the Jamaicans to come around. So you have to keep your body strong.
Williams keeping the pressure on Aiken.
She's brilliant in both positions, isn't she, Williams? Goalkeeper or goal defence. Outstanding defender.
Henry putting the pressure on. She knew Aiken was going to try and just flick that ball back into Bryant.
And look at Aiken pushing her way in against Williams.
Nice screening out from Williams.
Oh, excellent. Great rebound, because the Jamaicans have been strong on those missed shots on their rebounds.
Bit of patience from the Ferns.
Yep, Sasha Gay-Lynch just digging it in a wee bit too much, caught by the umpire.
Nice hold from Van Dijk. Van Dijk putting the Silver Ferns out to a 4-goal lead. Nice timing from George off the centre pass, but then...
And that's the situation. They've pulled 4 goals ahead. You know, we're talking about whether Jamaica can hang in. It's whether New Zealand can put the foot on the throat and accelerate forward even further. But there, soft turnover, just a bad pass, a bad delivery.
Williams has a go at the ball. Aiken will get the shot.
Bit of gum being chewed in Jamaica.
On and off the court.
Nice
Forbes.
work on the centre pass. If it was just nice and clean, up, stop, gave herself space to move into the ball.
You talk about the Silver Ferns letting themselves down. Forbes has let Jamaica down on that occasion, forcing the ball into Aitken. No real need.
No, not off their centre pass off, that's for sure. And over the head of Sasha Gay-Lynch goes the ball, straight into the hands of Van Dijk. She's still just had the one miss in the match, as has Tutaia.
Nice cutback from Tutaia. Comfortable, easy shot for the 22-year-old. 5 now, the difference. Jamaica certainly need to land this goal. Give them confidence heading back into this final 15 minutes. So Forbes acting as the extra feeder. Williams certainly giving Aiken a hard time underneath the basket. Henry not willing to give Aiken the baseline.
No, go where I want you to go.
Yeah.
They'll be wanting to hold this goal off if they can, Jamaica, and if they can even score from it and go into the break a little closer if they can do it.
Oh, Forbes.
And they will. They'll get the penalty.
Lovely from Forbes. She could see that Brian was falling out of court, so she ran onto that baseline to pick up the ball. Well done, Jamaica. They've pulled themselves back into this game. It's the Silver Ferns who won that quarter by just 1 goal, and it is the Ferns who lead in the last 15 minutes, 46-43.
As much as we do. I guess that's why they're the elite sponsor of the Silver Ferns.
Welcome back to the final quarter between this first test. Silver Ferns taking on Jamaica at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston. And there's been no changes for the Silver Ferns, apart from the one forced on them. Casey Williams back at goalkeep. And Jamaica trailed by 3 goals. What can they do in this last 15 minutes of the match? And there's their intention. Out of court, though. Great pass. Aiken's foot across the line. And Wilcox, a wild pass. Renowned for those during the ANZ Championship. She let one of those go. And so Jamaica get a second opportunity to score off their centre pass. Thompson with a pass into Aiken.
Yes, just dropped in time, didn't it, that pass? It was almost over the back of her, and Williams would have had a chance to have a go at it.
Henry. George trying to milk a penalty.
Does well to stay on her 2 feet.
Yeah, turnover. Lovely work from the Jamaican defensive pairing.
Yes, and that was just the problem with it for New Zealand, anchoring of the feet and reaching for the ball instead of taking the feet with you.
Bang on, Julie. Jamaica being forced to go back. Patient. Forbes. Brian with a big pass.
And Wilcox knew it was going there too, didn't she? She did everything she could from outside, had her hands up early over the ball, made sure she was good distance.
Jamaica back in this. A great take from Forbes, and she looks to unleash. That's a long shot for Aiken. A home crowd. Might not be too many of them, but they're certainly getting behind their side as Jamaica draw even.
Well, in the test against Australia, I can tell you it was 43-41 at 3/4 time to the Diamonds, and Jamaica came through and won that match by 1, 56-55. So hold all tickets.
Yeah, nice little pop pass over to Aitken. Brian had no choice, no other option really.
And this is what New Zealand do not want in the final quarter. Jamaica to get a little sniff and think, we can get this. They'll get on a high. The crowd will get behind them.
Yeah, lovely pass from Langman. Could see it. Lynch had her head down.
And we can tell you that if it is drawn at full time, we will go into extra time. 7 minutes each way.
Yeah, a bit of a debacle at the test of the Silver Ferns in England.
Lovely delivery, plenty of space for Aitken to drop back. That's what we were talking about earlier, the fact that if she positions high enough in the circle, she gives herself good room to drop into if the ball is placed in the right position, as it was then. Perfect execution.
Yeah, lovely work from Van Dijk. Good timing, went to the top, brought Lynch with her, and then changed direction back onto that baseline. Lovely time pass from George too. Give Van Dijk one of those. What about two?
Well, they do make a few changes, the Jamaicans, don't they, with Byfield back in now and goal defence, and pretty good shooting stats, aren't they, from both sides?
Lovely. That was great work from both Williams and Henry. Unfortunately, it didn't fall for them, but it was good understanding between the two of them.
Nice, good looking up court, lovely delivery then, wasn't it, to George? Put her right on the edge of the circle and then followed up when the ball couldn't go into Van Dijk, cut in front. So great work to Taia.
And contact. This is the break that the Silver Ferns needed. Brian called for using her elbows. And Brian has let her teammates down here. The ball's been called back because Brian didn't set the penalty at the right place, but yet they could have come up with that turnover.
She moved off it too soon.
Yeah.
Well, they're having to work very hard. I would have liked to have seen Van Dijk go to the post, even though she was perhaps outside her range a little bit, because the risk is now at being played around outside.
Well, starting to get rough now, Jamaica. Starting to hold, push. Yeah, good call from the umpire. Deliberate contact on Langman. That was Paula Thompson, stood out of play. Time called, a bit of sweat on the ground, so it gets a bit slippery.
So,
good tussle there, Gibson.
Sasha Gay-Henry now playing at wing defence.
Oh, and a contact called on George. Brian, yeah, held ball, struggling to find anyone.
New Zealand had dropped into a partial zone there, and that just held the ball up, played in the space. Good clean ball to Van Dijk, but again, just outside that range that she feels comfortable on the shot. So it's fed back out, and Taia takes the shot.
There's that big pass again. Not much that Williams could do about that. We talk about how good Forbes is feeding Aitken. Aitken didn't have that luxury in the ANZ Championships, didn't have a goal attack that could feed her quite like this.
She will next season.
She sure will. Natalie Medhurst making the trip across to Brisbane from Adelaide. Nice patience here from the Silver Ferns. A bit of a wild pass from Van Dijk, but Langman tidies it up.
Yeah, sometimes that pass from Van Dijk's just a bit wobbly, isn't it? It just doesn't have the purpose behind it.
Almost.
Just going offside, so Tutai offloads, just needs to take those feet. And again, New Zealand lucky to get away with taking that ball as the feet were anchored pretty much, both attacks.
It's Brian having to go back. Good 3-foot mark from Larissa Wilcox. Jolene Henry going high in the air to no avail though.
So for a lot of the game, it's been two goals in it, hasn't it, really? And then New Zealand might stretch it out for a bit, but Jamaica come back. It's only just a turnover.
And lovely work from Sasha Gay-Lynch. Keeping the pressure on. Byfield, again, not taking her feet, so Van Dijk will have an easy shot close to the hoop. Again, that lead out to 3.
Oh, nice little dodge there.
Big pass from Brian into Aitken. Williams nowhere near it.
Yeah, great movement from Langman. Came off the edge of the circle, re-offered, found good position.
Now Sasha Gay-Lynch got her hand to that ball again. If she just took another step, she might actually come up with an intercept. Forbes looking straight in.
Nothing on because Aiken had to come out for it.
And a contact on Aitken.
Yes, well, the two defence had done well, hadn't they? They really were putting the acid on her, and she was determined to get away from them. Would have been better just to have held and waited, let the ball go to the outside feeder and let Forbes take a pass and cut. So New Zealand still leading the penalty count, and again, it's that obstruction area that, that New Zealand have been penalised a lot more. But to me, that smart play up and over the ball so that that big high one can't get it into Aiken, although it does seem to find its way there most of the time anyway.
Oh, and Langman this time called for the contact. Oh, anything can happen. Yeah, Henry looking for that intercept, but didn't need to. Williams, not enough on the end of that ball. Good effort from the Silver Ferns in this last, or the middle 5-minute period.
Yes, well, Williams, you know, 2 clean intercepts in there at in that goal keep position. It's really good, solid turnover ball.
Silver Ferns withstanding a bit of physical play from Jamaica as well.
Van Dijk cleans up her missed shot.
And we've got a timeout here being called by Sasha Gay-Lynch. She copped a elbow in the head from Van Dijk. Silver Ferns be pretty happy with themselves. In fact, it's Nicola. Well, it's Henry anyway that's called the time.
Yes, she started the game in at, well, didn't start the game in at goalkeeper, but did come on at goalkeeper there at one stage, and then shifted out in this quarter to wing defence.
So Jamaica struggling in this last 5 minutes or so. Now we see great work there from Williams, but it was Jamaica who came up with it. So the turnovers, even, both teams. Only one held ball though, it's on Jamaica's part.
And you can see there Laura Langman pretty dangerous in the mid-court with 3 intercepts for New Zealand. So pretty tidy in that area. And I do apologise. There's 2 Sasha Gays on the court, and one's Henry and one's Lynch, and I made an error. Sasha Gay Henry didn't start at all in the circle.
And another turnover. This time, Bryan called for the contact. Byfield goes hunting. And again, George waiting for the call to come. It doesn't. Byfield. Offside. She probably would have got away with it. I'm not sure that the umpire did actually know at all and was looking further down court.
But she made it very obvious, didn't she? Yeah.
Lovely long shot from Tutaia. The Silver Ferns withstanding the pressure from the home side.
Yes, and we finally see them making or taking a commanding lead. Jamaica coming very, very close to them in the opening stages of this quarter. And now really pulling away from them.
Well, it's another combination that the Silver Ferns know that works on the international stage, with Henry in at goal defence and also giving Wilcox the opportunity on the court for 3/4 of the game and at wing defence. It's Henry calling the time.
These players must be getting very tired, especially the likes of Henry and Williams that have been on the court for the majority of the time.
Henry goes to the sideline. Not sure what's going on there, but we're going to continue with play anyway.
Is it the second injury break in this quarter?
Oh. Not for the Silver Ferns. There's the second injury break.
Yes, there was one from the other side, so I'm not sure what the story was there. Nice drive of the ball onto the circle edge, but great work.
Byfield, she was doing plenty of that in the ANZ Champs. Dangerous on that cross court.
They pull one back and have the centre pass. But I think the lead for New Zealand is unassailable.
They'll look for the big pass, and they need to. Pressure again from Williams, follows Aitken all the way out. And this is just stalling tactics almost from the Ferns, just ticking the time down, or ticking the clock down.
Wide landing stance from Aitken gets her right in under the goal. So they pull one back.
Too little too late though for Jamaica.
Yeah. Oh, lovely space.
It's good patience from the Ferns, waiting for the space to open up.
2 defence split wide and a lovely drive through the base from Van Dijk.
Aitken plucks that out of nowhere. George also looking for the big pass.
Thought better of it though.
Tutaia, long shot. She's been up to it all day.
Yeah, well, she's only missed 1 shot for the entire game. 32 from 33. She's put up more shots than Van Dijk as well. And you see it on the scoreboard with a great finish for the Silver Ferns, taking the match with a comfortable lead, 61-56.
Yep, good performance from the Silver Ferns in the last, well, in the middle 5 minutes of that final quarter, in fact. Jamaica, they were right in this game coming into this final quarter, but the Silver Ferns withstood the pressure. Some lovely shooting just like this from Maria Tutaia, and some good space created as well by Irene van Dijk. So it is the Silver Ferns who take the first test against Jamaica. A reminder, there is another one on Friday between these two sides. The Silver Ferns triumphant over Jamaica at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston, Jamaica.
Yes, the Silver Ferns will definitely be pleased to get that one out the way, particularly, remember, after the Jamaicans beating Australia on Monday. Now, we will have more reaction from this match and what our thoughts were on this first test and what the Silver Ferns will need to do in Test 2 on Friday after this.
The International Netball Series is proudly brought to you by New World. We love netball as much as you do.
61-56, the Silver Ferns have beaten Jamaica in the first test in Kingston. Let's go now and hear what Ruth Aiken made of this first test.
How do you assess this game? In our commentary, myself and Oberyn Peterson, we realized that the New Zealand team played a patient game tonight.
Yeah, I thought we did. There was huge pressure from the Jamaicans. I thought they played really well. But for us, it was about driving on the ball and keeping that ball in hand, and I thought we did it in the end very well.
Simone Forbes, Norma Plummer, the Australian coach, says that is our most dangerous player, as against the tall and now well-known Ramilda Aiken. How much of a bother was Simone Forbes for the New Zealanders side?
Yeah, she's the maestro in that forward court, no doubt about it. I thought she had a good game, but I thought we kept persevering with her and didn't give her too much room. So we had to shut down that supply to Ramilda because, gosh, she's lethal once she gets the ball.
Turnovers was critical tonight as well.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, we probably gave away a bit too many as well, but there was huge pressure out there. So I think both teams put on a fine display.
Tell us about this Maria Tutaia, because the danger is Irene van Dijk. You have to respect her at all times, but Tutaia got away tonight, and she also scored a lot of uncontested goals.
Yeah, she did. She works that front of the circle really well. She's got a great long shot, and she complements Irene very well. So, no, I was very pleased she was on fire tonight.
Ruth Aiken, congratulations, a great win, and we're looking forward to the second game.
Absolutely, so are we.
Thank you very much.
Yes, the Jamaican interviewer there highlighting Maria Tutaia's performance. Take a look at those stats there. 95% for New Zealand. Maria Tutaia missing just the one shot. 86% for the Jamaicans. One thing they mentioned there was perhaps the Jamaicans weren't quite as aggressive, and that shows there when you look at the stats penalties-wise. Well, let's have a talk about this game now. Test 1. Jenny May, Julie, what are your overall thoughts? For me, I felt like it was a little bit flat for a Jamaican match.
Yeah, I felt that the Jamaicans lacked that real aggressiveness that we're used to. I know, Julie, you talked about the fact with Connie Francis being their coach now, perhaps pulling that back slightly, but I think that worked against them in this match. We saw it start to come out in that fourth quarter.
It's a fine line, isn't it, to be being disciplined and showing control and losing your flair with taking that on board. So I think, you know, and that's the fine line they tread, and because you don't want them to lose their flair, do you? I mean, that's what's been so exciting about the Jamaicans game. But look, they hung in there. They hung in there for most of the game. What was it, 5 goals in the end?
That's right, but I think we have to bring it back a little bit too and say, well, the Silver Ferns played well. They are the ones that won this test match. They were the ones that hung in there in the end when the Jamaicans started to put the pressure on. It's not easy to win in Jamaica. It's not easy. So, you know, well done to them, and well done too to the coaching staff for trying out a combination like Larissa Wilcox. Although that defensive combination was forced on them in terms of Henry coming in at goal defence, we know that works now too.
I just felt like with the Jamaicans, having watched them in England, when they beat England in that World Series match, they came out firing, and that was what sort of amped them up, and that's the style that they had the potential maybe to beat the Silver Ferns with. Yes, they played controlled and they stuck with them for most of the match, but in the end, that was always going, the Silver Ferns were always going to win in that style, I feel. Controlled.
Yeah, yes, because that's why New Zealand won the fast net as well. They were controlled with that as well, and we saw it again in their game today. A very controlled. They controlled the pace of the ball. They weren't flat stick lickety split, and that's where I think Australia maybe came off the rails against Jamaica, because that plays into Jamaica's hands. They like a fast and action-packed style of game, and they rise to that sort of occasion. And New Zealand didn't allow them to do that, and that's why I think you felt it might have been a bit of a flat game, Tony, and it was, because it was played at controlled pace, wasn't it? So we didn't see the flair that the Jamaicans. Also, a little disappointed with the crowd.
Yes.
It didn't seem like a big crowd there, and it'll be interesting to see in the second test whether the Jamaicans get behind their team a little bit more and give them a bit more support.
What did you make of the Silver Ferns lineup in terms of who did you think was the player of the match? Obviously, Maria Tutai shot well, Laura Langman a number of intercepts. Who would you have said?
Oh, either of them. I think Tutai had a great game. I mean, you know, how many goal attacks go onto the court, you know, and shoot 97%, land 32 from 33. So she had a great game.
I thought she was in outstanding form today.
Yeah.
Again, you know, she had a good game against England, and again, she's really consolidating in that goal attack position, isn't she? She put up more shots than Irene van Dijk. Irene van Dijk put up 31, she put up 33, and that's unheard of, really, with an Irene van Dijk in the shooting circle. And the commentator touched on that with his interview with Ruth at the end of the game. You haven't just got one shooter we've got to worry about in there, you've got two. You know,
I think that's part of that new attacking line, though, with Timapara Georgian at wing attack. I think that's got a bit to do with the amount of feeds that Tutai is getting and the space that's been created for her as well.
No, she certainly looked confident. Well, let's take a look now at what the Jamaican coach, Connie Francis, thought of her team's performance.
Connie, a great contest tonight, a physical one, a bruising one. How do you assess the performance of the Sunshine Girls?
I thought we played well in spurts. I thought we had a lot of good points, and certainly we had some turnovers and some questionable calls, you know, especially in that last quarter that actually turned the game for us, because although we weren't as fluent as we had liked in attack, I thought that in that latter part of the game, you know, I didn't like what was happening, and we should have addressed it a little bit better on court.
What is it that you didn't like, Connie?
I thought the calls were a big question, but I won't even indulge in that because I thought we made errors. You know, I thought we actually let in some soft goals at times when we should be more aggressive, because whenever we're aggressive, we get tips, you know, we get a steal. But at times we lapse.
Patience a factor tonight. New Zealand appeared to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they're well rested and they have done their homework, certainly. And one other thing about it is that we have to give some of our youngsters some game time on court. So you find that the blend, you know, some people are sashing into the first time going up against a #1 team, #2 team in the world. So based on that, we only can grow. You know, we have a lot of growing to do. So we're not going to feel too bad, because I thought that the effort was very spirited.
For game 2, though, Connie, you have to try and contest Maria Tutai. A lot of uncontested shots on goal, and they resulted in goals for them.
I thought she shots very well. She's an extremely good shooter, and she works the court well. Her timing is perfect. I think that one of the things we have to go and focus on is getting her off the ball. Try and prevent her from getting the ball, because whenever she gets that ball, she's very dangerous, especially in court, in the zone.
Connie Francis, thank you very much. Great job. We look forward to game 2.
Thank you. All right.
Interesting comment there from Connie Francis. Questionable calls. Does that sour grapes, or do you agree?
Oh, no, she's probably right at different times, but it went both ways, didn't it? And she didn't want to make too much of a big deal about it. She just mentioned it, probably feeling you know, a little bit sore about the loss more than anything. But what I did find interesting is she said about the aggression. She didn't feel like her team was aggressive enough, and then that's when they get themselves into the game. And, I mean, she's the coach. She knows better than we do, and I think she hit it right on the head there.
That whole aggression factor, I mean, it's something the Jamaicans are known for. Do you think they push the boundaries, or do you think it's fair?
I think they do push the boundaries with what they do, and as I said earlier, they're sneaky with it. You know, like they do get away with things that we probably wouldn't get away with in our game. They're very clever, they're very athletic, and they can actually twist their bodies in ways that we can't twist ours. So I think they can be at times a wee bit over-aggressive, but I think that element was lacking from their game, that real hunger, that real, you know, looking for the ball in flight and having a go at it.
Look, if you can get away with it.
Why not? That's what I say as well.
And look, and that's what we've all liked, haven't we, in the ANZ Championship, that there's been more contesting of the ball, and we've got to the stage where we've said netball, you know, what's this non-contact sport? It's not a non-contact sport any longer, and we like to have that, you know, that contesting of the ball in flight, and I don't think we saw that from them today.
No, we didn't see it today, but no doubt after Connie Francis has dealt with them, we'll see it in Test 2. Stay with us, we've got more Welcome back. 61-56, the Silver Ferns have beaten Jamaica in the first test in Kingston. Remember, that second test is on Friday. I want to talk about Laura Langman. In at centre, had a great game today, but I know in the past, I think both of you have preferred her as a wing defence. Are you happy that she's in the right place?
Wow, she's certainly playing well, isn't she?
It's working for her.
Yeah, well, playing it at centre is working for her at the moment. You know, I was a big advocate of having Langman back at wing defence. That's where I remember her playing her best netball when she came onto the international scene. But you know, she's proving that centre is a position that she's comfortable in. We saw her in the first couple of tests against Australia back in that wing defence position when Timapara George was in at centre. Liana Barrett-Chase was in at wing attack as well. But, I mean, you know, you can't deny that she is a great player.
Yeah, and what she brings to the centre position is that defensive side of the game, doesn't she? And I think that really helps New Zealand defensively in that whole outside the circle defence. And I think she's very good at that. I think if you had a really good centre and a really good wing attack in your side, then I'd quite like to see her at wing defence.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is Liana Barrett-Chase good enough to be in that starting lineup? And could you push her back?
I actually really feel for Liana Barrett-Chase because she got injured, you know, at the point
where... Was playing really well.
Well, it was obviously that was the lineup that they were looking at. Langman, George and Barrett-Chase in at wing attack. She got injured with a calf muscle, so they had to rejig that mid-court, and that's basically what happens at international level.
Do you know what? I reckon we'll see it. I reckon we'll see it in the next test.
Oh, I think
we'll putting it out there, Jill.
It's another lineup that they know.
I think
it started to show glimpses that it was working.
I think we'll see solid at either end, and I think we'll see that change in the middle.
Okay, moving back to the Jamaicans, Romelda Aiken, do you think that the Jamaicans are exploiting her enough? I mean, someone with that height advantage, you would imagine that she'd virtually be unstoppable, yet they weren't really... I mean, we've got some nice play here from Forbes and Aiken, but surely they can exploit her more with someone with that height.
Oh, look, you have to give credit to the defence on the outside of the circle. Henry and Langman getting that 3-foot guard over, so it takes away the sight of Aiken. And, you know, when you've got someone like Williams back, you can't take away from how good Casey Williams is either. And how much defensive pressure she can put on Aiken.
And I'd just like to say they have exploited her quite well. Like she did put up 42 shots in the match, so more than both the New Zealand shooters. So they are getting the ball to her, and you know, when she holds high and she's got that lovely drop, she's unstoppable. The one negative in her play is that she won't take a shot from distance. You know, Tutaia will shoot from anywhere. Van Dijk, she likes it close to. Aiken really likes to be within sort of 3 feet from the goal.
Well, I think probably with Jamaica, where perhaps they need to look a little bit more is down that defensive end, looking for the ball in flight, and maybe with that mid-court taking over some of that responsibility of feeding the ball in.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll see some of that then in the second test, and hopefully a bit more of an aggressive style of play that Connie Francis has mentioned. Now, we do have one more test that is exclusively live here on TV1 Friday, 1 p.m. Do join us for that.